Mewtwo is without a doubt one of the most popular Pokemon out there, partly because it is clearly the best Generation 1 Pokemon. Mewtwo is virtually unstoppable in the Generation 1 metagame, having a fantastic speed stat, high special, and pretty good defenses on top of that. And not to mention, it even has a pretty good physical attack and a fantastic move pool. A lot of things have changed since Generation 1, however, with many changes to game mechanics such as the physical special split, and with Mewtwo getting 2 Mega Evolutions in Generation 6, which raises the question of, is Mewtwo still the best Pokemon or not? I am your host PaPaSea, and if you're unfamiliar, I have a series very similar to this on my channel, but instead of discussing the best Pokemon in the game, we discuss some of the worst Pokemon. This is the first in the best Pokemon series of hopefully many, and if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you show your support by clicking that like button and subscribing and leaving a comment down below letting me know if you want to see more videos like this, and also letting me know in the comments which Pokemon you want to see featured in this series in the future. Now keep in mind, this is for good Pokemon only, so please only recommend good Pokemon for this series. If you really want to recommend bad Pokemon, no problem, just go to one of my worst Pokemon videos and comment over there. The way this will work is we take a look at some good Pokemon, discuss what makes them so good, what their flaws are if they have any, and if they are the best Pokemon overall or the best Pokemon in a specific category. Each Pokemon will rate on a scale 1 to 5 based on their offense, defense, versatility, move pool, and overall viability. If a Pokemon excels in some of these categories, then it is deemed to be a pretty good Pokemon. If Pokemon excels in pretty much every single one of these categories, then it is considered one of the best Pokemon. So taking a closer look at Mewtwo, Mewtwo is a mono psychic type Pokemon with the abilities Pressure and Unnerve. Mewtwo has a stat line of 106 in HP, 110 in attack, 90 in defense, 154 in special attack, 90 in special defense, and 130 in speed. These are all pretty fantastic stats, as none of these stats could be considered low by any means. Mewtwo also has 2 pretty good Mega Evolutions in Mega Mewtwo X and Mega Mewtwo Y, which have stat lines of Mega Mewtwo X has 106 HP, 190 attack, 100 defense, 154 special attack, 100 special defense, and 130 speed. Mewtwo Y has a stat line of 106 HP, 150 attack, 70 defense, 194 special attack, 120 special defense, and 140 in speed. Mewtwo X is more of a physical attacker and has the ability Steadfast and is secondary typing of Fighting, while Mewtwo Y is a mono psychic type with the ability Insomnia and is more designed to be a special attacker, as you can see from the stats. The introductions of these 2 Mega Pokemon made Mewtwo even better, however we'll be primarily focusing on the base Mewtwo form until we get later on in the video. Since there really aren't many, let's take a look at some of the negatives first before we move on to the positives. For the first negative is you have pretty meh abilities. You have Pressure and Unnerve in your base form, which aren't the worst abilities in the world, and then when you Mega to Mega Y you have Insomnia, which is okay, and Steadfast and Mega Mewtwo X, which is just okay. They're relatively passive abilities, don't really do anything. They're by no means bad abilities, but they really don't do much for you. Now this negative is you're also weak to Knockoff. Now this is a little bit of a reach. There really aren't many negatives to Mewtwo, but I had to find at least a couple. Being weak to Knockoff kinda sucks, because in Gen 6 Knockoff got a pretty big buff, and Knockoff is one of the most prevalent moves in the game even today, and being weak to Knockoff really isn't that great, especially in your base Mewtwo form. And that was pretty quick. Let's go on to the positives, and there's quite a few. You have great attack stats, phenomenal attack stats, whether you're base Mewtwo, Mewtwo X, Mewtwo Y. Their attack and special attack between all 3 of those Pokemon are very, very good and very, very useful. You also have great speed stats. You have 130 as base Mewtwo and Mewtwo X, and 140 as Mewtwo Y, which is just insane. Great attack stats, great speed stats, phenomenal Pokemon. You also have insane coverage, physical and special. Mewtwo obviously is a Gen 1 Pokemon. Like most Gen 1 Pokemon, they have pretty stupid coverage, and Mewtwo is no exception. You also have 2 usable Mega Forms, which is fantastic. Having a Mega Form is usually good, and having 2 Mega Forms that are usable make this Pokemon even better. You also have some pretty good bulk across with Mewtwo. Although Mewtwo is seen as more of an offensive Pokemon, you still have some pretty great bulk. Y is the frailest of the 3, however, it's really not that frail when you compare it to other Pokemon in the game. Another positive is basically the versatility. It can be defensive, can be specially offensive, can be physically offensive, can be a support role, whether you're base Mewtwo, Mewtwo X, or Mewtwo Y, it doesn't really matter, it can do all of those. So moving on to the Smogon recommended sets, I tweaked some of these a little bit. For the most part, they're basically just Smogon's recommended sets. We have the base Mewtwo form, Mewtwo with the Life Orb, Pressure ability of course, max speed, max special attack, rest and defense, timid or modest nature, Psy Strike, Focus Blast, Ice Beam, and Fire Blast. This just hits really hard. You could put Thunderbolt somewhere in there if you want, because having Ice Beam and Thunderbolt is usually really good. Side Strike is Mewtwo's signature attack. It's basically just a better Psyshock in a way. It's 100 accuracy, 100 base power. That's a pretty good move. And then for Mewtwo X, we have Mewtwo with the Mewtwo X, of course, ability Steadfast, because all you got. 112 attack, 144 defense, max speed, Jolly Nature, low kick, taunt, Earthquake, Ice Punch. Doesn't really matter what moves you run on Mewtwo, which is kind of great about Mewtwo because you just have great coverage. If you really want to throw Stone Edge on this thing, you can. You want to throw Zen Headbutt, you can. Thunder Punch, you can. You want to get rid of Taunt, so be it. Since you have such a high attack set as well, there's really no point in investing max attack since you can pretty much two-shot everything anyway, which is part of the reason why this thing only has 112 invested in attack. Even at a Jolly Nature, which isn't a plus speed nature, you're going to do insane amounts of damage. And then last but not least, we have Mewtwo Y, which is my personal favorite Mewtwo Mega Form, if I'm being honest. You got the Mewtwo Y, Insomnia ability, of course, max special attack, max speed, Timid Nature. You could run Modest if you really want to because you're base 140 speed. Side Strike, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Fire Blast. Again, just run 4 special moves, preferably with some Psychic Stab on there because it is a Psychic type. And again, similar to Mewtwo X, you really don't need to run max special attack because you have an insane special attack stat. However, I'm running it anyway because that's the set that I found. And now onto the ratings. For offense, 5 out of 5. This really isn't much of a surprise. Between the base Mewtwo form and the 2 Megas, the lowest attack stat between the 3 is base Mewtwo's 110 in attack, which is still a pretty good attack stat to have. And the lowest speed stat between 3 of them is 130, which is tied between base Mewtwo and Mewtwo X, which is still fast. This Pokemon has insane attack stats and great speed stats, which is why it is such an offensive threat and has been since Generation 1. For defense, I will give Mewtwo a 5 out of 5. Although Mewtwo is usually used as an offensive Pokemon, it still has great defenses. Mewtwo X is the bulkiest of the 3, having 106 HP and 100 in both defense stats, and although Mewtwo Y is technically the frailest of the 3 with 106 HP, 70 defense, and 120 special defense, it is the bulkiest on the special side, and 70 defense when you have 106 HP really isn't that bad, as you can see from Pokemon like Chansey, which have high HP stats but a low defense stat, but can still take physical hits relatively well. You do also have access to things like Recover and Willows to help you defensively, which only makes Mewtwo a better defensive Pokemon. You're definitely better off using it offensively, but if you really want to, you can use it defensively. For versatility, since Mewtwo can be used in its base form as a special attacker, physical attacker, or a wall, and has 2 usable Mega Evolutions that can pretty much do the same thing as the base form, it is extremely versatile. Mewtwo can be used as a taunt lead, a special attacker, physical attacker, a wall, and many other things. The only thing that Mewtwo can't do is set up hazards or remove hazards, but it can do pretty much everything else. You can make the argument that I should give this thing a 4 or a 4.5 versatility, but you're still a Mewtwo, you're still amazing, you're on this series for a reason. I think a 5 is definitely warranted. For Movepool, no surprise here, 5 out of 5 for Mewtwo. Mewtwo has pretty much perfect coverage on the physical and special side. The only thing that I noticed it's missing is it has no special poison or steel move, which isn't that bad. You do struggle a little bit against fairies, I guess, but if you have 154 special attack, a hidden power steel or poison should still hit the fairy types hard enough. And for viability, it's no surprise here that the king of Generation 1 gets a 5 out of 5 in viability. Even today, over 20 years later, Mewtwo is still one of the best Pokemon out there. It's been uber since Generation 1 for a reason in Smogon singles, and whenever it's legal in VGC, it always sees some pretty decent use, especially in VGC 16, where it was seen as a good counter to Smeargle because Mewtwo Y has the Insomnia ability. And that is Mewtwo. Is Mewtwo the best Pokemon ever? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Personally, I think Mewtwo is without a doubt the best Pokemon in Generation 1. Today, I think that's a little bit different. I think there's some other Pokemon that are better than Mewtwo. Thank you so much for watching, by the way. Have a good rest of your day. I will see you guys next time, and bye-bye.